Hi everyone, these are the notes for Songbirds in Unit 7. So Songbirds is our order of birds here called Passeriformes. Again, we're in Kingdom Animalia, phylum Chordata, animals with backbones, class Aves, that's the birds. So the order is Passeriformes, which is the songbirds or passerines. So we'll talk about a bunch of different families found within the passerines order. There are so many different families, so we'll only have time to talk about a few of them. But all passerines are going to be songbirds, meaning they're a kind of perching bird where they can stand upright. They have the four toes with the one in the back and the three in the front, called a nisodactyl, and really characterized by their songs. A whole variety of different noises that they can make, whether it's for alarm, contact, with courtship, with other of the same species, and they can be described in all kinds of different ways, like a trill or a buzz. Some of them sound a little metallic. But being small birds, they tend to eat things like grains or insects, depending on the species. So they might have a generalist or an insect catching or a grain eating type beak, usually going to be kind of short, sometimes a little bit bulkier. Thrushes, for example, are going to be some insect eating bugs, whether that's the eastern bluebird that you can see up here, or the American robin that you can see down here. You've probably seen a robin eating a worm at some point. Blackbirds tend to have a very metallic sounding sound to their calls, whether it's a grackle, like in this top right, the red-winged blackbird here on the left, or the Baltimore oriole on the bottom right there. Crows and jays and magpies are all known as corvids. And they have a really unique ability to mimic other bird calls and sounds. There's even plenty of instances of crows learning to talk and say things just like a parrot would. Closely related to them are the ravens, which you can tell a little bit of the difference with the larger beak and the fluffier neck feathers. Blue jays as well are in that group. Mockingbirds can also mimic the calls and sounds of other birds. And a close relative to them is this brown thrasher on the bottom left here, with the mockingbird here on the right. Cardinals are some of the prettiest, and their group contains buntings and grosbeaks as well. All of these birds are going to be seed eating, so they've got this big, thick bill that's meant for crushing berries and nuts and seeds and those things. But they have wonderful colors like the bright red of the cardinal, the very deep blue of this indigo bunting, and the varied colors found in the wonderful painted bunting here. Wrens tend to be tiny little round birds. They're also insect catchers. Carolina wren here in the middle, it's pretty common to see around. House wren's a little bit drabber in color on the right there. And if you're around a wetland, you might even see a marsh wren, like this guy here on the left. Finches also have seed-eating beaks, just like the cardinals do. They have really interesting calls and contain very complex mixtures of noises. The purple finch is the kind of reddish one seen here, and the more yellows are found on this goldfinch. Tits, titmice, and chickadees, we have 3 of those here in North Carolina. You're most likely to see either the Carolina chickadee here on the left or the tufted titmouse here in the middle. But occasionally you might see a black-capped chickadee, which looks very similar to the Carolina chickadee. And I do not have time to go into all the different sparrows because there are so many tiny little brown birds. Very common one might be the house sparrow that you might see around. They've got the black feathers on the face there. Warblers are a favorite for people to visit North Carolina for. They come in all kinds of colors, but yellow is definitely a dominant color found in a lot of them. Like this prothonotary warbler here in the top middle, sticking out of the cypress tree there, or the common yellowthroat there on the left, or maybe the pine-rumped warbler down here on the bottom right. So that's a brief overview of some of the families of songbirds. Hope you see some of those in your yard someday, maybe even today. And I hope you enjoyed that lesson. So thanks for watching.